Hi, this is Raj in Finland, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Zoom F2 as a vlogging microphone. And for the impatient ones, let's go through some pros and cons. The first pro is obviously you can forget about the gain. 32-bit float is here, and now it's affordable. The second advantage is that because you're wearing a lavalier microphone, which is not tethered to the camera, and you don't need to worry either about wireless transmission, distance to the camera doesn't matter. And then we have the usability. This thing is as straightforward as it gets. One button, turn it on. I don't even ever use the playback. That's it. Then for the cons, external audio will require syncing. The build is nothing to write home about. It's actually pretty poor plasticky. And then you have another device that you need to worry about batteries. And when we talk about vlogging, what we mean is this walk and talk. Hopefully you have a well stabilized camera, but audio is really important. And if this video ends up being published, it's because this actually worked. If you do hear some crunch noises, it's because I'm walking on ice with my spiked shoes. One thing that I do appreciate for vlogging purposes is ease of use, and as I was saying, for the impatient ones, this thing cannot get more simple. There's a switch to turn it on, the same switch you can hold it or lock it, and there's a button there to just turn the recording on, and that's about it. Of course, having an external device means that you do have another battery powered device to take care of, and that maybe goes minus on the ease of use. However, the single feature that is the most ease of use in this situation is the lack of gain because of the 32-bit float. I'll explain in a moment what is 32-bit float and why we don't need gain, and why microphones might be a limitation, but it's still not a really big deal because you're not going to be clipping them much. The fact that I don't need to worry about the gain in these situations and I can do it in post, it makes it much easier. I don't want to be looking at the levels in the camera. I don't want to be playing with the gain in the microphone like with the DT-V3 Pro. It sounded good, but that's another thing that you need to worry about. So from a ease of use perspective, this thing is pretty fantastic, and I can just fit it in the pocket. And before we get into some more details about 32-bit float, if you want to read about it, I recommend this really good article from Sound Devices. I didn't want to take a look at my notes too much while being outside. It's embarrassing enough as it is, so let's take a look at these details indoors. If you're recording a waveform file, meaning a WAV extension audio file, and it's 16 bits, it records from -96 dBFS or dB in full scale to 0. If you're recording 24 bits, it goes from -144 to 0. So you can guess also that that's the dynamic range of both formats. But 32-bit float goes from -758 to +770. What this means in practice is the dynamic range is infinite. 96 dBs, 16 bits, 144 dBs for 24 bits, 1528 dB for 32-bit float. The biggest sound difference on planet Earth between a massive shockwave being the loudest and then the silence in an anechoic chamber, it's 210 dB. So 210 does clearly fit within the 1500 possible dynamic range of the 32-bit float, and that's why in practice it's infinite. However, this isn't magic, of course, and you will be limited by the microphone. If you do clip the microphone, 32-bit float will not save you. If you place a microphone wrongly, 32-bit will not save you. What means in practice is that for most normal situations, you can forget about gain issues and you can forget about problems related to clipping because it will just not happen. And talking about the microphone being the limitation, right now we're using an NTG4 Plus from Rode straight into the Zoom F2. And yes, this microphone needs phantom power, but it's battery powered, so it doesn't need it. So this just works. And if we were to clip this microphone, 32-bit float would not save you. However, this microphone can handle up to 135 dB SPL, sound pressure level, and if you think about it, a rock massive guitar amplifier blasting so that it would hurt your ears really much, probably permanently, that would be 120. Just to give you an idea that to clip this microphone you need a lot of sound, so most likely you would be very, very fine, but that will be a limitation. But now that I no longer need my notes, let's go back outside again. Well, maybe that was a bit too much of indoor content, considering that this is a vlogging test. Spike shoes are nice, you can still sleep, be careful. Some extra challenges vlogging in the Finnish winter. Of course, then we have the problem of having to sync audio, and that's something that might be mildly annoying, but I do it all the time because I always record the audio separately. DaVinci Resolve has a really good, well-working automatic audio syncing based on waveform. So for those of us not using timecode or anything professional, that's definitely good enough. So that's what I will be doing. The combo that I'm using today actually might be a bit more annoying than some others, but not because of the audio, but because of the Olympus file splitting, but still not a big deal. But what did you think about the audio quality? That's the first and most important thing. To me, it was really practical to just carry it here in the pocket with the integrated or included in the package lavalier microphone. I'm pretty happy with the sound, otherwise I would not have published the video and I would just have had a nice walk outside instead. So if you're seeing it work well, tell me what you think. Are you using some lavalier microphone with an external recorder for vlogging purposes? And will you be considering the F2 going forward? And if you liked the video, please like and subscribe. And we're gonna see you soon for some more content.